Hello there, Steve here. Yeah, there was a few reasons why I started to do the little Tolkien videos, little mini-series. One is because I kind of enjoy just getting away from, the serious topics, really, and look at something that maybe others enjoy too, But another reason was partly because when I was looking into the problems of society and law and everything myself, I decided instead of taking the perspective of, a citizen, somebody who's looking up to the power structures, I was thinking to myself, what if I was king or leader or ruler? Hence, what if I had a massive responsibility to a populace of people, a public? What if I had that responsibility? What would I have to? What I'd have to do? For example, I'd have to lay down some kind of guidelines. That people drive on the left-hand side of the road. That we have maybe Sunday as a day where nobody's like making loads of noise. So at least have one day out of 7 that we can, just relax and. There'd be guidelines laid down, and if there weren't the guidelines, the public, the people would be arguing. So I don't know. These structures have come from a long time, and the power's been passed on. But nevertheless, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I was the author of the legislation, or if I was the king of a country, what would it look like then? And it was the same as Tolkien. If I was Tolkien. What would I be thinking when I'm writing? If I was writing a book after knowing what I'd seen about the world now, I wouldn't just be writing a fairy story just to get my mind away from things, because I wouldn't be able to forget. It would be a sense of making sense of and passing on some kind of wisdom. I don't want to just pass on my own fantasy. I want to pass on something that can enfold itself as wisdom in someone else. To improve the world. That's the wise thing to do. Not just to make people's places a brighter place with the stories, but to make people's lives richer with knowledge and wisdom. Lead them to the idea of morals and what's right and wrong. These stories are always best portrayed. Another point was, I've done a lot of studying. I've watched a lot of videos. We're in an age now where we've got more accessibility to information than we know in recorded history, than in our lifetimes. So this is kind of the age of revelation, where everything reveals itself, where languages come together and start to see the correlations and anomalies. This is the time where it starts to show itself, everything. But back in the day of Tolkien, there was no real public outlet like the internet, and if you started spreading like secret information around, it would probably get lost or misused. And so that, in a way, the best way to get any information out of the world is to get it to the public, so it's just widely distributed. But at the same time, the wise man's going to know that if he writes a philosophy book or a law book, no one will read it, and thus no one will buy it or pass it on. It will not be popular enough. So the idea is to make a book that everybody will want to read for different reasons, and that there's wisdoms hidden within those words. Now, obviously, the wise people don't want the bad people to get their hands on clever powers. Just, theoretically. So the wise people wouldn't make it hard for you to find out any kind of information that was empowering. Same in the Bible. The old wise men wrote certain legal documents down and argued with them for time and whatever. That might be the result they came up with. Something that most people would see as being a fantasy story, and others would see as being a sea of wisdom passed down through the ages. And that, And the thing with the Bible is that the Holy Bible, the scriptures, To my knowledge, there's nobody on this planet, in the public domain at least, nowhere where you can buy books, to my knowledge, that actually seem to know even a small fraction of the Bible. Even the most studied people only know bits of the Bible, and they've studied it every day all of their lives. They've made it a job. So there's no way on earth that any little mortal can actually read the whole Bible in a lifetime and not even understand it. I don't think it's there to be understood. I think it's the Bible. The Bible is like, if you want to argue with somebody about the Bible, you know that you will die before you find the answer, even if it's just of old age. So you see, if I was to, if people are coming and saying, that there's answers in the Bible or there's no answers in the Bible, then both of those parties are just making claims of which they know nothing about. Someone like Tolkien obviously saw the same as what we're seeing. This isn't, the corruption in government and power, misuse of power has been going on since thousands of years, it seems. So people like Tolkien, who are very learned in language, who also spent time in 2 wars, and been around the place and knows language very well. You would expect them to have a certain amount of knowledge that we don't have now, something that's lost, at least the use of words. And when we look around us, the biggest conflict that we have in society, in my opinion, is that the majority are misunderstanding and misusing the language. And that leads to misunderstandings, it leads to devious labelling and social ostracisation and social labelling and social statusing. That whole language thing is causing the battle. Maybe since the Babylonian sort of, when the Tower of Babel was being built and God said, you shall all be divided into different languages that you can't argue anymore or something. So it's almost like a weapon that's been divided into little pieces to make it harmless and put into different languages. And once those languages come back together, they reveal a certain part that's been kept from us because because it takes great responsibility. Now, in a certain way, people of authority have kind of used the Bible to gain authority. But considering that they can't read the Bible, they can't decode the Bible, they've just taken it on faith. And they swear on it and are supposed to swear by it. It becomes their rule, their law, not the law that they impose on others. But if you swear on something, you're swearing to abide by that law and to enforce that law. But others are not necessarily obliged to follow your laws or your leaders' laws, But that oath binds you to that law, or it binds them to that law. So, to me, there's something hidden within that whole paper authoritarian system. The authoritarian bureaucratic system's given us this idea of that they know how to harness the power and they're using the power and everything. But essentially, the power is really within the heart and the might and the soul. And these aspects have been twisted. There's a lot of hypnosis been done on us, and I'm not saying by the government or any individuals. Through time, somehow, through the paperwork, through the language, there's a great deception been done on us, leading us to deceive ourselves and deceive each other. It's a very clever deception and a very simple one, and everybody is constantly noticing this very simple deception, but can't understand why nobody else can see it when everybody can. It's just a certain amount of fear and a certain amount of self-doubt that clouds that perception in the first place. People saying, that the law is in your heart. For sure, you're absolutely correct. every man and woman and child has the law inside them. They don't need rulers and leaders and laws necessarily to find the law. But obviously when we're born into such a world of temptation and madness, then we need those guidelines to get us back into it, to find ourselves, to find yourself, you know, as individuals. So this is the search, and just to put a final point on here, the things that I'm talking about, you know, I was talking about the Tolkien videos and the things that I notice. My observations are based mostly off correlations, the ones with the highest probability. You know, if you've got a shape and it fits best in 10 places, and another shape fits best in 10 places, suddenly you start to see a logic where these shapes are best suited to fit in these holes. Obviously it's based on certain contexts and prerequisites, you know, do all the pieces need to go in one hole, or, you know what I'm saying, or do you? I don't know if I do. Yeah, so the correlations, say for example I'm taking the word right. You know, the correlation is that there's, like, you know, right and wrong, right and left, right and flat. There's rights. You know, is a right the same as a right? You know, you only have one right hand. You don't have two rights. You know, so have rights been broken when you pluralize them? Can me and you have rights? You know, is that through pluralization? Are we breaking something? And so these correlations are now looking again in French, droit, and in the legal dictionary, droit is right, but it's the whole body of the law. The whole body of the law is the right, not rights, the droit. And if you look in the French, you get the same correlations with corrections and other words, same in German. So, you know, I'm looking at these correlations not just from a mathematical point of view, not from the author's, like, pointing something out point of view either, and not just a linguistical point of view, but a language across the board and a literal perspective. Now, I spend a lot of time when someone says, "Oh yeah, you know, this you can do it any other way and it'll work," you know. But it doesn't. It doesn't for me. You know, I try other ways, and there are ways of combining things that also fit, but I'm usually trying to present you with the best fit. I'm not trying to make a great claim. If anything, if someone comes along and has got a better fit, I really would love to know. I really would love to know, because that's why I'm sharing it, one, so that other people have got some observation that isn't maybe out there so readily, that I haven't found, and two, so that it can be questioned. But it has to be questioned with a question and not an allegation or a labelling. You know, we get so much like competition about who's right and wrong, and it's okay for somebody to call me wrong, but I need a reason. I need a fucking reason. Because don't expect me to proofread my old work just to find out if I'm wrong again. Because I've already, you know, that's the reason I'm putting the video out, is because I'm almost certain of what I'm saying, or at least certain that it's got some kind of relevance to actually unfathoming this massive, massive ball of string that's weaved around us all. You know, for a lot of people, they want simple, quick answers. They want, you know, to find out who's to blame. They want names and addresses and places. They want, you know, and it's all deviation, I feel. I mean, it's important that we cloud through it, and I appreciate a lot of people talking about, like, news and breaking down news and different things that's going on in society at the moment, and actually just showing them for what they are, as being like just distractions and fakes and stuff. But we have to obviously point them out, because too many people believe lies, and we're not actually truthers, really. We're just looking for the truth and finding lies. So we're not claiming to have the truth, we're just claiming to know that isn't the truth, what's been told. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Like I say, I'll do some more of the little Tolkien videos and Knitter and Natter You know, I'd rather talk about Lord of the Rings than about the Bible any day, because I'm not here to preach. I'm just here to like share. And I get a lot of like, you know, people throwing allegations and people throwing labels at me and making my life hard, when all I'm trying to do is share. You know, make it easy on yourself and just listen to what I've got to say. And question if you've got something to question. But you know, I ain't trying to aim for status, so you can throw all the fucking labels at me you want. You can call me anything you want. I don't give a fuck about society. I don't give a fuck about like labels, because you can call me all the fucking labels you like. You know, this society, I don't value its credit. I don't value its merit. So, you know, label me all the fuck you like. It's not my game. I'm not going to label you back. Alright then. That was a little bit of a rant on the end there. See you later. Cheerio. It's been a long one again. Alright, bye.